All right. Hey, everybody. I just wanted to put together a quick presentation to talk to you about the discussion that you're writing for the fermentation lab. I know it's a little late in the week for you all to get this, but it's based on the rubric that we gave you. So hopefully, I'm just adding a little bit of clarity to everything. All right. So, talking about the fermentation discussion. So, you're going to get a chance to write another scientific title. Remember to be concise but descriptive. All right. I should be able to know what you did and what you did it to. So the example I got there is investigating the effects of dissolved stevia on the rate of fermentation in yeast by measuring CO2 produced. All right. So now I know from that quick title, I know I'm looking at stevia, I'm looking at fermentation, and my model organism is yeast. And I also know how I'm measuring the effects. So your discussion is going to start out with the interpretation of key findings, right? So you're going to revisit your experimental question. What were you trying to answer? And interpret how your findings relate to that, right? Do they support it? Do they not? So for the example is our goal is to determine osmotic effects on weight change in dialysis tubing. Results suggest that tubing placed in hypotonic solutions gained weight, whereas hypertonic solutions caused weight loss. Right. So your original question was, what is going to happen in these different conditions? Is water going to move into or out of our dialysis tubing? Right. And so you're saying that your results suggest that in hypertonic solutions, you've got weight loss. In hypotonic solutions, you've got weight gain. All right. So you're going to summarize and generalize your results. So what we are looking for here is you're going to include the supporting and non-supporting results from your experiment. Was there any limitations to your study? And you're going to stay focused around that original question, right? We're in kind of unique circumstances here, so it might be tough to contrast findings with the previous paper, so I would worry less about that. So an example of secondary results. Dialysis tubing placed in isotonic solutions varied weight minimally, which is additional support to our hypothesis, and then you would state your hypothesis. All right. Then you've got an explanation of how, why your results show what you said they do. Right. Osmotic movement doesn't stop, but movement of water molecules in isotonic solutions is similar in both directions. Right. As much as moving in is as moving out. All right, and so you're also going to explain limitations, right? So in this case, the example is talking about how the experiment didn't test the osmotic movement of other sugars, right? We only looked at one sugar. So results found in this study should be applied to applications using different sugars, right? So that's an example of here's a limitation, here's what we could do to look at something else along the same lines. And then one paragraph at the end is going to be the analysis of the most important findings and the significance of the work. Right. So in summary, osmotic movement involving solutions of water and glucose are driven directly by tonicity. That's your summary conclusion there. The other thing this conclusion is doing is it is relating your results out to the wider world. Right, so here is talking about industrial applications that could set up these things for repeatable chemical processes. That idea. So we'll talk about it right at the very end, but the idea is that your conclusion is starting very specific. Right, your research question, your hypothesis, and then getting more and more broad as you get along. Basically looking very specifically at your hypothesis and results and then applying those results to the world at large. So remember, we also are going to have, you need to have 3 CSE format sources. You're going to go, most of them are going to be printed journal articles, things that you find. So that's why I've got the print journal article style of citation in here. All right, you also need in-text citations. So in your discussion, when you use a piece of research to support something that you're talking about, if it's you're paraphrasing that work, and then at the end of the sentence where you paraphrase, you're going to have an in-text citation. Right? If you have in-text citations but no works cited at the end, that's not good. And if you've got a works cited at the end, those works cited don't really matter unless you have in-text citations. Right? So we've got two examples. If you've got two authors, right? If you got a single author, you would just have the single author. If you've got two authors, you put both of those authors' last names in the year. And then if you have more than two authors, it would be Gordon et al. All right. The actual citation here, we can see that we've got all of the authors' last names, first initial, middle initial. Right. There's periods between each of the different types of information. So between the authors and the year, there's a period. Between the year and the title, there's a period. Between the title and the journal, there's a period, right, et cetera, et cetera. There is the link there up above that you can go to the UNE library page, and that will give you some more info on how to do those in-text citations and how to do the CSE format for your works cited. So make sure all of that stuff is there. So discussion, just remember that we are starting from specifically your research, right? So your scientific question, your hypothesis, and then you're gradually getting less specific, right? Working to the significance of your work, right? How does it relate to science in general and the world in general? And that's how it's going to go. So if anybody has any questions, please feel free to contact me, or if I'm not your instructor, please contact your instructor, and good luck with everything.